Sunday fun day. And Daddy is with me along with Sonny. Breaking might be jumping in. I talked to him before the show. He said he would be here, but something might have come up. But say hello, guys.
Hello.
Hello. Well, me and Daddy were talking about something right before we went live, and I had to put a pause on it. I said, we'll talk about this when we go on air. And I had just made the comparison of like how it is to boil a frog. By the way, thanks everybody for being here. We've had a couple of technical difficulties the last couple of weeks. And thankfully all that I think's been ironed out. So we should be good to go from now on. But talking about it's like slowly boiling a frog, and Daddy was kind of getting on to what was going on over there about how it seems like people that we know will they'll draw their line in the sand, and then they'll be adamant about it, and then all of a sudden they slide the goalpost over ever so slightly, and they'll start doing the very thing they said they would never do. But then they'll say, well, but I won't do this. So I'm going to let Daddy get into kind of continuing on what he was talking about, what's going on over there right before we started. Breaking in the house. Say hi, Breaking.
Hello, Breaking. How are you?
Hello, Breaking.
Oh, good. Okay. I didn't know if you were coming. I was like, I almost in a panic. I was like,
Hello, Daddy. How are things across the pond?
Okay.
Hello, I'm very well, thank you. I'm rather annoyed and somewhat angry at some of the stuff that's going on over here at the moment. Like I said,
what in the world is going on with the mass exodus out of London last night? Traffic was through the roof.
Let me just say this. I mean, first of all, that was unlawful anyway, because the law didn't come into what they call is a law, didn't come into effect until the morning. Let me just say this to everyone out there, right? As someone who truly does believe in liberty and freedom, right? And I'm not talking about our audience, and I must make this clear, right? I'm talking about these people. Unfortunately, this is the bit really upsets me. Some of them are my family, right? That have took this hook, line and sinker, right? And are not even challenging the narrative themselves by looking around them. If this was so effing deadly, why aren't there people dropping dead in the streets, which is what we originally was shown in Wuhan, right? That's what we were shown. Pictures of people going in the street. It ain't happening, people.
You know what's funny, Dee, is we've always sat here and watched and questioned and armchair quarterbacked what happened during World War II and wondered how in the hell could the people of Germany been so blind to the rise of what took place and so willing to follow. But yet, here we are, some 70, 80 years later now, repeating the very same thing.
Breaking, Spectre. And listen, see what you just said there. Laura, can you confirm? What did I say before we come on air?
I know. That's why I was kind of glad we paused it and we got to fire this conversation up when we went on air.
History may not repeat, but it sure does rhyme.
Listen, Breaking, what you just said there was exactly almost word for what I said. I could never understand how 10% of the Nazi population of Germany took control. I could never understand it. How comes 90% of the population didn't take back control? And let me tell you now, I can now see how it happened. And the next stages of this are literally being put in on cattle trucks and off to concentration camps. And let me just say to everyone in England, there's a lovely tool to do it for everyone. It's called HS2, and it is a troop carrying system, and the system that's going to take you and all of your friends and family eventually on that train to a concentration camp in mainland Europe. That's exactly what's going to happen.
You know the narrative that they'll use to justify that? It's for the common good. That's exactly what they'll do. They'll say, It's for the common good, folks.
Exactly.
And remind me, Daddy Dragon, of our forefathers, what they said about liberty and temporary security. You remember the quote?
Yeah, no, I can't remember the exact quote, but the basis.
Those who trade liberty for a little temporary security will get a high degree of neither.
Exactly.
And here, what are we doing? Masking up 6 feet distance. Little temporary safety, folks. Little temporary safety. Oh, but it's for the common good. Oh, just give up a little bit of your liberty. How much more should we give? You want an inch or do you want a mile? How much? Where does it stop? Where do the goalposts continue to move to?
No, listen. And again, I'll get back to the conversation I was happening before we got on here. And again, this is not to the audience listening here. I don't want anyone to think that. My frustration is seeing Oxford Street deserted, seeing the streets where I live deserted, and seeing even members of my family hibernating as if this is some sort of real threat. And what my thoughts are this, and this sounds terrible, but you don't deserve freedom. You do not deserve freedom. If you will not question the narrative, and if you will not think for yourself, you are not an individual, you are a herd animal, and you do not deserve freedom.
Daddy Dragon, I talked a little bit about this last night on a fireside, and I hope this is a real eye-opener for folks when it comes down to it. Number one, we have to realize what has been supplanted over top of us, right? We have a legal system, and then you have a lawful system, right? They're two separate things, but we use those words interchangeably as if they're the same thing, and they are absolutely not. The legal system is what is the maritime admiralty bullshit that we find ourselves in. And they try to confuse folks by using those words interchangeably, court of law and this and that and everything else, to try and confuse folks. And that's exactly what they do. They try to keep people confused. Now, if you go back to the founding of this country and any country under common law, you'll realize that disputes were not settled in the fashion in which we have to pay somebody to have those disputes settled by way of attorneys, which is nothing more than moving your wealth to them and ultimately to the four inns in London. But by far and large, arbitration was used, which, by the way, predates Roman civil law and our current court system, by the way. And disputes were settled by somebody, an independent arbiter, and they settled the matters between the two parties. That is law. Now, what we have in front of us here today with the Admiralty Maritime System, they throw and use interchangeably with what we have. It is not. And they put these executive decrees and all this BS out there as if it has standing, and it doesn't. And so my point is this. What I tried to make last night is you're absolutely right. That what people don't understand, or perhaps comprehend is a better choice of words, because understand means to stand under the authority of someone, like the King of England. But we are indeed infants, and that's the harsh realization. When we look at all the fraud in that's been perpetuated, I don't care if you look at the fraudulent fiat currency system. I don't care if you look at it from the sense of the fraud of the election. I don't care which sort of fraud you look at. We're all defrauded at the end of the day. And it starts at birth with your frickin' birth certificate, period. And once people realize that people are being managed because once they have come of full age, they have not actually gone back and actually claimed themselves. And this, by the way, dates back to Daddy Dragon, the Cestui Act of 1666, by the way. People don't realize that they have to claim themselves once they come of full age. And so the government automatically assumes, hey, well, apparently you are an imbecile of the system, an infant, and you need to be managed because you can't manage yourself. And unfortunately, the harsh realization out of all this fraud is we cannot understand that our framers had this beautiful system worked out that we would have the ability to have self-governance. And instead, what do we have? We cry to the government, change this, change that, do our bidding for us. Oh, House of Representatives, do this, do that. Bullshit. We don't need them. You are to be above them. Period. If you understand what self-governance is. But unfortunately, people just are not privy to the system because, one, it's never been taught. And we're changing that, by the way. Many of us have gone through the process to get ourselves out of this Roman civil law, Babylonian bullshit system. And it's got to change. This is what was meant when POTUS said back in 2017 during his inaugural address that we are returning the power back to the people.
Okay. And before we get too deep off into this, I need to address something as well that happened to this channel a couple of days ago, and I'm just going to show you exactly what we got. I got this email from YouTube. They took down our entire Wednesday lineup. And it says, I'll read it to you. Hi, 5x5. We wanted to let you know our team reviewed your content. We think it violates our spam, deceptive practices, and scam policy. We know you may not have realized this was a violation of our policies, so we're not applying a strike to your channel. However, we removed the following content from YouTube. Wednesday lineup from the 16th. We realize this may be disappointing news, but it's our job to make sure that YouTube is a safe place for all. If you think we've made a mistake, you can appeal this decision. You'll find more details below. What our policy says, content that advances false claims that widespread fraud, errors, or glitches change the outcome of the U.S. 2020 presidential election is not allowed on YouTube. Let me show you what is. Because YouTube, I'm prepared. If you think I did not, my parents raised a fool, you're nuts. Every single gamer right now on YouTube is playing one game, or they've at least played it. It's called Cyberpunk 2077. Do you know what's all littered out through that game that's monetized right now on this platform? Here, let me show you. Here's one image, Brokeback Mountain. If you'd like to see that, that right there is monetized. Here's another one. Anybody see what this guy's doing in this picture? That's monetized on YouTube. So please tell me how talking about an election, or whenever we listened to almost 4 years, everyone from Buck Street Bubba to Hillary Clinton talking about how this last election was robbed by Russia. Russia hacked it. It was a illegal election. Russia handed it to him. We heard of this for 4 years and you didn't say a word. But now this time you're going to take down channels for it, but you're going to monetize this? Who's that protected? Is that a good image for kids to watch? Who do you think watch these gamers? So spare me. Sorry, just had to highlight that. If I disturbed anybody, that message was not for you. It was intended for the people that just took our entire stream down for Wednesday.
If I could offer a couple words that rhymes with cluck to Susan Wojcicki, I would say that.
Well, I'm so freaking sick of it. Like that's the tame part of that thing. You can pick your genitals in that game. You can pick your genital size, your penis size, your boob size, your areolas. I'm not kidding. There's an image on there with let me tell you what they're pushing. An image on there with it being a woman from the waist up with breast makeup and pink hair. And then I'm not kidding. You can walk up and see the bottom of it is a blue latex. I'll get you a screenshot, YouTube, if you need one. Latex leotard with a rock hard male part that you can clearly see through the freaking leotard that's on posters all throughout this game. There's an image of a woman with split V'd her fingers with her tongue stuck through it. If you don't know what that is, I don't know what to tell you. But that's what kids are watching is monetized all over this platform. And you're going to bitch at people are talking about the election. But that's monetized. Yeah, if you think that's it, you're crazy. If you think that's all I've gathered over 3 years, you're absolutely nuts.
Can I also say to you, just so everyone's aware, that's exactly the same message that YouTube sent to me and give me if you like, an unofficial strike for spamming false information, which is disgraceful because all I was actually showing peer-reviewed reports on a counter narrative, and that's what they sent to me. We've reviewed your content, which they couldn't have done, and we're not going to give you a strike this time, and that's exactly what you just showed. So they're doing it to everyone, and it's an absolute disgrace what's going on, without any doubts whatsoever. But what I'm more annoyed about is, you know, they bring in this tier 4. I can tell you this, and I want you to all understand this, right? I was going to show you some elements of this, but it's on a website which is a unionist website, so I can't actually bring it up. But I can tell you this. Simon Dolan lost his case, and he's made comments on Twitter that he's been before 3 judges and the Supreme Court, and not one of them have looked at a page of evidence, and they've just dismissed it, right? Let me just say this to you. The same group of people, you know, and you're talking about people like Simon Dolan, poo-pooed Robin Tilbrook's case when he brought it that we left by law on the 29th of March 2019, and not a page of evidence was actually looked at by any court. One of those judges was a fellow of the Institute of European Law, whose commission, if you like, is to integrate European law throughout Europe into all member states. And yet that person did not recuse himself. And the only person who challenged him on that and could have been disbarred for it was Robin Tilbrook. Let me just say this to you. Robin Tilbrook is the only person, the only lawyer in this land that has now placed the Bill of Rights before the Supreme Court in this country, before the High Court in this country, with a precedent set in New Zealand 25 years ago, where someone in New Zealand said, and I'll repeat, you cannot go against the Bill of Rights, and the judge agreed, right? The only person that's bringing it up now is Robin Tilbrook and the current crop of solicitors that are working on his case. Yet Simon Dolan, or Nolan, whatever his frigging name is, has not even mentioned the case, right? Some people are controlled opposition, trust me. Robin Tilbrook is not one of those. Robin Tilbrook is actually putting the English Constitution before the courts. And not one person out there, not one mainstream media outlet, not one barrister will stand up and talk about the Bill of Rights of 1688-89. Article 1 and Article 2. You can't use pretended law. You can't take our rights. And you can't use a degree of government. It's the same as having a despot of a monarch. And yet, not a single person out there is mentioning it. Let me tell you something. The people and the group of people that made Robin Tilbrook aware of this case in New Zealand and his legal team were us. The researchers, the people like you on this channel that found that law and then produced it. Since that day, 25 years ago, 46 presidents have been set on that one case where we have challenged the government in New Zealand. And now that case is set to challenge this government. But people need to get behind it. And will Simon Dolan get behind it? No, he won't. Why? Because he's one of the elites. He lives in Monaco. He doesn't care about the man in the street. He doesn't care about the person whose business he's shutting down, who's lost everything because of this Nazi communist regime that is now in place that rules us. So we are successful because we, as the people, are coming together to research and push it forward. That's it. I can't say any more than that. But let me tell you something. It infuriates me how we have allowed this to happen. And the people of this country have literally got to take it back, physically take it back, because it's the only way you're going to do it. And if you don't do it a bit on the lively side, people, let me tell you something, yeah, all they're going to do is keep increasing their Gestapo numbers until it's almost impossible, exactly what they've done in China. End. Thank you.
Preach it. Preach it. I get it. I don't even know. I listen. My closing on what I was talking about is, I know all the stuff. I venture in every corner of this on this streaming platform to see exactly what's going on and what's being streamed and what's popular. And I have watched some seriously questionable content get pressed across it and monetized, especially when I know how many times conservatives are silenced, channels will go missing, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then I'll go watch a channel that's completely monetized, saying some really off the cuff kind of. I mean, but I don't say a word. Whatever, freedom of speech. I get, hey, YouTube does need to try and have some rules if they would apply them fairly. I don't think anybody would say a word, but they don't even know their own terms of service because they're so wildly applying them. If they don't think they have biased, bigoted people that are flipping the switches, they're lying to themselves. They know exactly what's going on. So don't threaten me. I'm not going to listen to it. I have enough crap. I mean, they were showing videos of slave trade in Libya where human beings were being sold on YouTube. So you know how many Jubilee videos are out there that are monetized that talk about, if you're a white person apparently and you're not white, you can be as racist as you want to be on this platform. You can talk about white people like they're flipping dogs. Do I look white? Yes, I look white. My great grandmother was full-blooded Native American. So preach to me about reparations, please. And then tell me how I should feel guilty as a white, quote unquote, person. But I'm sorry, you want to talk about the Trail of Tears? You want me to sit up here and talk about how I'm a victim? And then somebody say something about a white person. What do I look like? Do I look white? My blue eyes are the Irish side. Now here's the Native American. Don't come at me about all this white shit. Just because people look white, does that not mean that they're somehow European or whatever? That does not, that whatever. I've seen enough. I've seen so much go on YouTube and it be so selective. Like there's a guy called Moist Critical, and he actually had a conversation with Susan Wojcicki, and he came away with it saying that he actually got to see the person that was over the terms, or in a conversation talk to the person that was over the terms of service, and he came away from it, hopeful that they were going to try something, that they were actually going to try and be fair and know what they were doing. They were silencing gamers and stuff. And, they bring so much traffic to this platform. They'll sit up and listen to those folks. I mean, they've got, he's got like 8 million subs or something. So spare me the lecturing about talking about this freaking election. We listened to it for 4 years. Every Democrat you could find from the gutter to sitting in the White House talk about how that election was stolen. So don't start all of a sudden now having some kind of moral high ground when people want to talk about an election. So then there we go. Sorry. So it just pisses me off. I don't like being threatened. It does not bode well with me.
So Dawn has just said in the chat, why is humanity going backwards? Because when good people do nothing, evil succeeds, is the answer.
Bingo.
That's it. There is no other answer to it. Yeah. Just to let you know.
Sonny, your turn. I haven't heard a rant out of you yet.
Well, can I just say that? Hang on.
But I just put in Zoom chat that their disclosed TV is one of those. It's kind of like breaking 911. You kind of, where's the sauce? And they don't often give it. But it said that the Euro tunnel is closing to travelers and freight by 10 p.m. tonight.
Yeah, that's right. Let me just, and sunny days. Let me explain something here. There's two possibilities going on here, right? There's two possibilities from where I'm sitting. Either something massive is happening that we don't know about because all of the aircraft are being shut down. You now can't fly out of the UK. There's certain things that can't happen. It's either something is happening on a major scale, yeah, where they're taking out certain people, or, and I'm going to say this, 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 or, and It's us they're taking out. There's
Oh.
two options. That's it. But this is not about a virus. This is something else, and I don't know exactly what it is. And can I just say to everyone before I go on with that, Dr. Zev on Twitter, Twitter, Dr. Zev on Twitter. Someone's going to down to find it and stick it out there. This is completely natural medication, right? But I have took his advice. So I've got zinc there, exactly what he's suggesting. D3, which, by the way, stops depression naturally because it's vitamin D, highest strength. 1,000 milligrams, again, completely natural, vitamin C. And there it is, one of the key ingredients, quercetin. There it is there, right? And that's if you can't get the other one, which I can't say on air, right? Now, I'm taking that
I
every
was a
single
little
day.
surprised.
Huh?
I was a little surprised that Dr. Zev tweeted out today that the UK strain did change,
Yeah.
but he's still
Yeah.
saying his protocol is, from what I understood, I thought he
because
said
it's all-
his protocol will still work.
It's all
They're
scare
all based on the
tactics at
same
this
thing.
point.
So they're
Like
all
this?
based on the same thing. So that's what you got to remember is one thing, you know, this is about immune supporting.
Yes.
And these are natural medications. And I'll go back to scurvy, right? When people were dying of scurvy, nastily dying of scurvy, it's a horrible death. And they realised that what it was vitamin C, that they had no vitamin C in their body. So their gums went black, their teeth fell out, their arms fell off. All sorts of strange things happened. The body become undone, literally, because of this massive deficiency in vitamin C. That's it. So this is about dietary needs. Do you want to go back to that, what you just brought back up?
Yeah, I was going to, this is what I was going to say about that. I was going to let you finish, but this is what I see when I see this. This says that, look, the UK, France, Germany, Ireland, Italy, the Netherlands, Belgium, Austria, and Israel ban all flights from Britain after discovery of mutant super COVID strain that is 70% more infectious. So what does this mean? This means they just got done producing how many billions of doses of that one vaccine? and now they've got another strain that's 70%. Well, so what does that say? This is what that says to me. The last one that they've just produced and give all these companies how many billions of taxpayer dollars to quote unquote research and hurry up and streamline a vaccine through is now worthless. And so now we're going to have to give all these pharmaceutical companies billions more so they can come up with a brand new vaccine for this next strain of super COVID.
Get ready, folks. COVID-20 is on the way. And then after that, COVID-21. And if you think about it, you know, this magic virus that we have here has all but eliminated the influenza A and influenza B. Think I'm lying? Go check your local health department statistics. Where did it go? Does nobody get the flu anymore? Well, it must be the best virus ever to eradicate another virus of choice. And look at what they typically have to do, right? Every single year you come out with a new vaccine for the influenza A and influenza B because throwing a dart at the wall has a much better chance of landing on whatever strain may be going around. It's just a new scam. Same players, folks. New scam.
It says it comes as Boris Johnson plunged London and swaths of the South into Tier 4. So Daddy probably knows what Tier 4 means.
Tier 4 basically means, you are a prisoner in your own home. That is the only way of saying it, right? So Tier 4 means you are under house arrest and you are what's the word for it?
Quarantine.
It's not quarantining, it's home arrest, but you're the one who's policing it, and they're asking your neighbours to police it. It's disgusting.
Snitch society.
It's disgusting.
Isn't that what George Soros did to his fellow Jewish folk whenever he was going and knocking on their doors for Hitler's army to drag them out of their houses? Sounds familiar.
The greatest time of his life. Taking the jewelry off of Jews as they entered onto the boxcars.
And come at me, Susan. We've seen the 60-minute interview where he said it out of his own mouth when he asked, "Oh, that must have been trying time for a 14-year-old." Not really. That was, I had, it was fun for me, knowing they were getting drug off to a gas chamber or what. Please. And that's your guy funded Black Lives Matter and Antifa. Such a hero.
Yep.
It says Ireland has imposed a 48-hour travel ban on non-essential flights from Britain from midnight, which includes passengers on flights and ferries. There will be no ban on travel restriction for passengers traveling between the Republic and Northern Ireland. Well, isn't that nice of them? The rules are to be reviewed during Tuesday's cabinet meeting, but it's understood they will be extended beyond them. Countries which have banned passengers on flights arriving from the UK. There you go.
Yeah, so what you're seeing on the map there, this could go two ways. Either something is happening and people understand not that it's the English, but it's the British that are the problem, and there are certain people within that structure that are being taken out. And if you look at what just happened in France, one of Epstein's henchmen and feeders, if you like, was arrested in France at Charles de Gaulle Airport. That, I believe, is an important thing. I also believe that there is something going on, I don't know what it is at the moment, with Julian Assange.
Yeah, I have to ask the question. We're probably about 24 hours out from a celestial wonder taking place where the stars are aligning. It's probably supposed to be the brightest it's ever been in 2,000 years on the 21st, which happens to be the winter solstice. Yeah. I guess the question might be, have you seen any sort of troop movements in the UK? And I don't necessarily mean British military, but potentially any sort of US Marines, perhaps.
The answer is I haven't seen any of that. But previously there was off of Scotland and some other bits and pieces going on. So I haven't seen that. One of the strange things that did happen, and I can tell you this is strange, is I was told, I don't know whether that's true, that the entire fleet of the Soviet Navy passed through the English Channel, and this makes me laugh, was shadowed by the Royal Navy. Let me tell you something. A handful of ships against the whole of the Russian Navy. I think you're in trouble there, whatever happens. One of the things that strikes me as strange by that is they've headed out to the Atlantic, but why? So, first of all, there were other routes they could have took where they didn't have to go that route at all. Some people have said it's a show of strength. One of the things that I want people to look at is Pearl Harbor, right? So, have they been told something, and they've moved their fleet, and they've stuck them out in the Atlantic because they can? It is easier for them to defend their fleet rather than being a sitting target. Wherever they are. And we may be talking about China attacking. For all I know, and again, this is complete speculation, for all I know, Russia's with you. Russia was with you during the War of Independence, which is why the British didn't like the Russians after that, right? Because they backed you up. They didn't go the other way. They backed you up. So there's certain elements to this where I think it don't make sense what's going on. So why would the Russian fleet be sitting in the Atlantic?
I don't think we have to look too terribly far, DD. Think back to what has happened just barely a week ago, right? I talked a little bit about this on my show over on Tiger Network the other night, trying to walk through the whole Solar Winds Orion hack, right? Solar winds, obviously, a lot of implications to that, ties into not just the U.S. government systems, but corporate systems, Microsoft, you name it. All that stuff has been revealed over the past 7 days. Obviously, within several hours of CISA releasing their edict, as it were, last Sunday night, First thing Monday morning, guess what was fired up? The whole Russia narrative.
Yeah.
Right. And of course, then we saw people, demand answers and everything else. Donang, Dick, and a bunch of others, and that on Capitol Hill browbeating. Oh, we're going to fire up the Russia narrative again because the Russia boogeyman is always the answer. Look here. Look to the left, folks. Left hand is Russia. Don't look at the right hand, China. Look at the left. Oh, look at the left. Hang on. But what's going on with China? What do we find out? They're still advancing on their Silk Road, folks. They're still advancing on their Silk Road. What did we find out about China to the north and Canada with Trudeau and company? Were they not having some exercises up there? What about down to the Caribbean and down Venezuela? Are they advancing their cause via the Silk Road and potentially setting up bases on Caribbean nations, 90 miles outside of the borders of the U.S.?
So this is what Breaking's talking about Russia. This is another one where Romney warns Russia's cyber attack could cripple U.S. electricity and water supplies as he condemns Trump for refusing to blame Putin. Now, here we go again. Here we go. Putin. Russia. And now they're saying, they're going to cripple our electricity and our water. It's like Breaking's mentioning we got China moving along our borders north and south. They just bought up 180,000 acres in Texas, a ranch close to one of our Air Force bases. Yeah, that's going on, but it's all about Putin and Russia. So, I don't know. All right, that's what he's talking about.
So yes, to your point, I think something big is definitely in the works. When is it going to take place? I can't say for certain, but the stars are definitely aligning, not just in the physical sense that they're supposed to take place tomorrow, but think back to Washington as well. I brought this up last night. The cover of Christmas Eve, the ride across the Delaware, as it were. Back in times of old. Do you think we're on that precipice yet again? Perhaps.
Speaking of, what do you all think about the meeting with Sidney Powell and General Flynn and was it Patrick Byrne that was in on it?
On the
And
Oval Office?
well, the news is
it.
saying that, martial law, and then they were saying no, martial law was not brought up in the meeting.
I think it's a media redirect. I think it's to try and throw them off guard. And
Okay.
I think even the very fact that they brought up putting somebody like Sidney Powell as a potential candidate for a special counselor to lead up the election fraud should be enough to scare the living bejesus out of them. Why? It isn't so much.
I like that.
Well, it's not for the fact that she can't get the job done, but think of how hard it is to fire a special counsel. Why do you think they're potentially going to do that with somebody like Durham and potentially somebody like Sidney Powell? Because the Democrats would have a damn tough time trying to eliminate those positions if the plan were to go awry. And somehow, some way, somebody like creepy Uncle Joe and Kamala were able to find themselves in the Oval Office. My personal opinion.
Well,
17 Angels said in D Live, Trump tweeted, and I did see this. He said martial law equals fake news.
Well,
Found that kind of interesting.
Can I just say something here? I've said, I think a week or 2 weeks ago, maybe longer, and what I quite like is General Flynn has almost word for word repeated it. I'm not suggesting he was listening, but I'm suggesting that people think the same. And that is the executive order to do with 13, whatever it was, to do with this in 2018 that was issued September the 13th, 2018. That was to do with voter fraud, etc., and external influence in the election. What you could use the military for is not, and I repeat, is not for martial law. What you could do is use the military as an organized, trusted medium for organizing a re-vote, not a recount, a re-vote in the disputed states where the army take control and have got the resource to do it with almost immediate effect. And they can then say, right, ballots go out, we're in control of the printing process, and this is what it is. This goes out. There are no mail-in voting except for people that are validly disabled and can't get there. And we will look at every single one of them and check them off, right?
So,
the second element they'll go for is every single person is to come and vote in person. And we, the army, who swear an oath to the Constitution, are gonna count those votes and count, and you will see military precision and organisation of a vote count. And it's not as if they ain't done it before, because they've done it in foreign countries, right?
so
They will come in and say, this is what we're going to do. That could be an alternative to martial law. Martial law would only be stepped into once that process is shown very obviously that everyone has voted for, not everyone, but the majority have voted for President Trump. And that means it brings in a valid argument that if there is violence anywhere, then martial law will be used and the Insurrection Act will be used against them people because they are organised. And therefore, the only other organisation that can deal with it are the United States Army or military, I should say, and the militia, which will then be brought in, which is the good people standing up and doing something.
So let me give a little backstory to what DD is talking about here. The other day, Flynn responded to Rep Kinzinger. He's actually a rep that's just up the road from where I'm at here in the land of Lincoln. He's a deep state military industrial complex shill, number one. And Flynn responded to him, says, one, know your history and know the Constitution. And Kinzinger is a military guy. He served, yes. However, that being said, I might remind folks who exactly Kinzinger is. If you recall, and perhaps you've seen some of the PSAs now that I use on my show, talking about the legalization of propaganda and misinformation and disinformation. A lot of that was brought to us through the NDAA of 2013 and has been advanced and upped every single year since, in conjunction with the Smith-Mundt Revitalization Act of 2012, brought to us by none other than 44, and further enshrined into law via people like Mr. Kinzinger, who authored and sponsored the bill to allow for propaganda and disinformation to be spread not across the pond in any other countries, but here on the soil of these United States. Oh, yes, you can go back and check it out. I believe it's House Resolution 2673. If I'm trying to recall from memory, something along those lines. I have it in my PSA, all three pieces of legislation, Senate, House resolutions, you name it. That being said, to say that Flynn, according to Kinzinger, has lost his moral authority is total BS. As soon as Kinzinger proposed that legislation and allowed for this stuff for media companies to openly broadcast across the airwaves to the American populace, the legalization, the avenue for which the ABCs, the NBCs, the CBSs, the Facebooks, the Googles, the YouTubes, the Twitters to allow for propaganda to be spread, they lost all moral authority, period. Now, to your point on martial law, the one thing we have to take into account here is that this country has been under martial law, for a soft martial law, for quite a period of time. So when we talk about martial law, it would just be a continuation of the same. And why do I say that? Well, one has to understand the fraudulent process in which we find ourselves, to where we have ceded the authority of our financial systems over to a private organization known as the Federal Reserve, where they have the ability to coin and determine the value of the money, which our House of Representatives ceded that authority. It's enshrined in the Constitution. That's what they're supposed to do, but they gave up that authority. And so in order for the fraud to continually be perpetuated, the only way that thing is able to work is through the standing executive, which, since POTUS has now issued, I don't know how many, we probably have at least a good 30. Here a couple of years ago, I did a count. I think we had at least 30 or 33 or something along those lines, standing executive orders that are open that basically declare the United States a war zone. It's a war against the people. And that is the form of martial law that we find ourselves under to allow this system to work. Without it, the whole house of cards falls down. So when you say, yes, there's potentially going to be martial law, it would just be a continuation of the same, probably more strict in certain areas, whether it be these blue states, the swing states, where, yes, we talk about potentially the Insurrection Act being brought to bear, as it were. And again, think of this too. Prior to the election, do you remember seeing articles about troop movements across the nation? What was it under the guise of? Operation Warp Speed. Operation Warp Speed. Well, we were told that that was for moving the products like the vaccines and everything else when they came out to get them into the more populous areas. Could it be possible that those troop movements were for other means other than what they were purported to be for? Carry on.
Oh, I don't know. I mean, are you talking about how the socialists of America are going to be a little heartbroken when they figure out that Biden went on stage and said whatever he had to say to get into power because he's in the pockets of all these people as well?
Yeah,
that's one of them. Or maybe it's this article where Black Lives Matter finally figured out that all that money that was being raised, they weren't going to see a dime of it. It was going to these special interest groups or these Democratic candidates being shoved in their caucuses. One of those. You know what I mean?
Look at,
or maybe they just realized they funded those vans driving around in Georgia that say we'll give you $1,200 to vote.
and in the meantime,
right.
Oh, I'm sorry. I bet that was Holly Weird raising that money.
Well, yeah, they arrested a bunch of people in 20. Well, I covered this a couple months back. Well, I think it was 2018 in California where they were going out and soliciting votes from homeless people and giving them packs of cigarettes and buying them a sandwich. But yeah, you think this guy's not in the pockets of these? That they won't even release the actual figures until. Can't remember. It says former Trump donor Jennifer Pretzer made her first contribution to Biden, as Forbes reported last week. Her cousin, billionaire Illinois governor, there's your favorite guy ever, also made his first contribution in July. For most of these donors, the total amount of money they've given to support Biden will remain a mystery until next month. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. No. He's going to be for the people. He's going to be an AOC's mouthpiece. Bullshit. It's like the stimulus package. Aren't we supposed to hear something about that today?
Yeah, a screw job. Just a screw job. Again, it's not about the little people. It's about protecting the interests of the corporations. The ones that are on K Street with the lobbyists that enrich the politicians.
Oh, what do you mean? Like this guy that also told his employees they can work? They're probably going to be working from home until next September, but Axe's idea of permanent remote work, unlike Facebook, has told their employees they can work from home from now on. This stands in contrast to some other tech companies like Facebook and Twitter, who have said employees can live remotely and telecommute permanently. So yay! So you're going to be silenced and and shut down by people that are sitting on their butts on their couch, deciding they don't like you. That's what's happened. There's no oversight when you work from home. These people are going to be able to manage thousands of people, banning you off Twitter, please. So, yeah, there's that.
Slow boiling the frog.
That's what it is to me. I'm telling you. And to me, it's even. I mean, look. What if we talked about they would try to do to distract everyone? Oh, we found alien life. The space shuttle has landed. Little green people are popping out. Now we got a radio signal being found from the nearest star to the sun. The first serious candidates since 1977 of extraterrestrial life. We got this now. Just so you know, we've got a signal.
That's what Jordan.
Yep, and Brennan came out too and talked about that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm sorry, Daddy.
No, it's okay, honey. In this room of these men, they're used to me elbowing my way through. You go ahead.
And I guess back to Daddy's point about planning for something big, right? You know, I think we were forewarned by Q at some point to say, you know, a sky event. Well, what does a sky event necessarily entail? Well, if these guys get to a position, I talked a little bit about this last night, and kind of the motif of the whole show is resistance and the counterpoint, if you will. What are these guys going to do when they know the gig is up? Are they going to go for the total shock and awe? And what would that entail? If it's a sky event, is this a situation where we may see Operation Bluebeam fired up? Perhaps. Who knows?
How the hell do they know what the habitable zone is? They can't tell you how many light years something is away. They can't even tell you how far a star is, but they know something's 40 light years away. But then you'll have somebody at NASA tell you we can't get through the Kuiper Belt because of all the debris field. Or I love the one where it's like, well, we've been to the moon, but we destroyed all that technology, because that happens every day. We don't have it anymore. I mean, you know, we actually accidentally put those in the shredder. Bullshit. We can't go back to the moon because we deleted the files. And people believe this shit. I'm like, whatever. So they're lying to. I'm going to tell you right now, my full belief, been studying this crap for a really long time, is I'm not going to tell you for sure what it is, but I know that they lie to us about space. I know they do. I know they do not tell us the reality of what's going out there. They don't know. They don't know. I've seen so many stories written in the 40s that have been completely covered up. The CIA released documents back in the, I think, late 80s. They had to declassify from the CIA from the 50s that were talking about Earth's dimensions. And I mean, listen, they're not telling us the truth. I know that much. We were supposed to have all these hundreds of thousands of satellites flying above us, but we can't get an actual picture of the Earth. We can shoot
so
a
you're
Tesla
saying the
into
list
space.
of what they've lied to us about is shorter? It's a short list.
No, it's a long one. I think it's a very long one.
The short list.
Listen, we can shoot a Tesla into space, but we can't spin that bitch around and take a picture of the Earth. It has to be composited by NASA. And if you don't believe me, I'll show you the video of the guy that does it, where he's the one where the continent of America, the North America, has changed every single year they show you the globe. They can't even figure out how big the continents are, but they can tell you how far a planet is, some billion light years away. Please. I don't believe it for a half a second. And I don't know what it is. I'm telling you, I'm not going to act like I'm some astrophysicist or whatever. Right. But I know that there's so many different documents, unclassified documents, things that have came out that say so many different things. They have no flipping clue. And if any of you believe that they somehow lost the technology to go to the moon, please. Then I'll sell you a bridge over freaking whatever, that pipeline they sold, that old line they sold in Alaska, the bridge to nowhere.
Wait a minute. China just said that they had a mission to the dark side of the moon and landed a craft on there. Sure. And what I find interesting about that is what is the drive to go to the moon right now? They want to come back with all these minerals, right? Except they made a slight error. They call them rare earth minerals. Oh, wait a minute. I thought Earth was here. The moon was there. Shouldn't that be rare moon minerals?
Well, they had a patent. They did sign not a patent. They did sign an order where it made it legal for certain countries to mine like asteroids or something. This was back, I think, in the Obama era. So you're like, but they do that kind of stuff to throw you off the scent. That's what annoys me about what's going on in the media right now. And I've talked to Breaking about this. If I've not learned one thing over these last 3 years of dumping my life into this movement, is that if the media is talking about one thing all the time and throwing it in your face constantly, then they're trying to distract you from something else that's going on. I know that much. What are we not talking about? And that's what concerns me. What are we not talking about? Because there's a lot of, like we talked about, for China's positioning to themselves in Canada and now buying all that property up in Texas. And then you find that rare source of uranium in Alaska that we were so dependent on China to get 80% of it. But there's so much in Alaska, we can supply ourselves endlessly. So that's an issue for China. That could be one. But who knows? They wanted to take us down for years. And look at what they've bought off everybody. It's like our government. How many people are you going to buy off? But then you study the symbology of all the families, and it's like a big F fest. You know, they're all. It's like a piss match, and we're all pieces on a chessboard. They don't care about us. It's all a game to them. We're all just little pawns in their little cogged wheel while they sip their crap on their 70-foot yachts, preaching to us about climate change. Ba-dum-bum. Look at it. Leonardo DiCaprio, Al Gore, 4 houses, flies private, gets in a gas guzzling SUV. Climate change. So, again, I don't know what it is, but they are lying to us about what's going on up there. Have no doubt. Shit changes so much, they have no clue. And they might know a lot, and they're just not telling us. Or they might not have a damn clue and trying to deceive us and act like they do. I don't know. But if you've ever looked at some of those images of those satellites, you could run over it with a Hot Wheel remote control truck and probably cream that sucker, flatten it like a piece of tinfoil. And that's supposed to make it through the Kuiper Belt? Okay. I think a Verizon rugged phone would have a better chance. Just my thoughts. See, Sonny, after I speak, it'd probably be a good chance for you to get in there real quick because they'll just go quiet after I say something like, oh, shit, what do I say?
Take it away, Sonny.
Because I just spit some stuff out there. It does annoy the hell out of me, though. I mean, if you do what I do, which is I've studied symbology and the signs and what black and white duality means, Lucifer, Satan side of stuff, and what these sickos do, then I know that something is not right about what they're telling us about space. But go for it, girl. Or not. You know, follow that up. That's why I get quite like, what do I say to that? But I bet you a lot of people agree with me. Something's not freaking right.
Huh. Can I just quickly say, I don't know if me sound on or off.
You're a little low. You moved it, yeah, a little low.
I'm on. Yeah. Oh, can I just say this? I've just put in the chat Dr. Zev's Twitter account. Do me a favour, everyone. If you're on Twitter, go and follow him and have a look at what he's putting out because he is a good man and he's giving you the evidence as well. So it's not BS. You need to go and have a look and see what he's doing, and it could help one of you or your family. And everything he's putting out there is completely natural. And he is not saying, and he has never said, he is anti-vaccine, right? But you need to go and have a look at what he's saying. Can I just, without me, and I'm sure one of my hearing aids is gone because I can't hear properly. While I change that and I'll talk to you when I'm doing it, can I just bring something up on here in relation to Sidney Powell? Let me see if I can actually bring this in and show you, because it's not a video as such. It's and now I've got to try and find it again. There it is. Hopefully this will work. And I can see it coming up on the screen. Yes, I can. See, I'm getting good at this, ain't I? Right?
It's only been 3 years.
Right. It's only took 3 years to see it come up on the screen in front of me.
Listen, I
right?
still screw up all the time.
Okay, well, let me just say to you. Now, this is really important. This is really important, and there's a reason why it's so important. And I want everyone to understand this. I had a long conversation yesterday with... hang on a minute. Let's see if this still works. I had a long conversation yesterday. No, it's not working, which means it's blocked. Right. I had a long conversation yesterday with Robin Tilbrook, right? And we discussed the difference between judicial review, which I don't like because it's not really part of the common law system, right? And this, right, which is what's in front of you at the moment. Now, the difference is, and it's called something called law of tort, right? And the reason I'm going to read this out to you is because this is one way you can absolutely win, but the system has tried to make it that you can't even get into a court of law. Now, the lawyer for Sidney Powell to Smartmatic file your lawsuit, right? Now, lawyer Lynn Wood announced he will represent fellow attorney Sidney Powell after voting machine manufacturer Smartmatic demanded that she retract statements alleging the company was involved in voter fraud during the November 3rd election. And then this is his quote, right? Knowing my background and experience in defamation law. Now, defamation law is part of the law of tort, right? Which is why it's really important. Nothing to do with judicial review, but the law of tort. Sidney Powell asked me to represent her and respond to Smartmatic litigation threat. Wood wrote on Twitter, since everything Sidney is saying about election fraud is documented, truth, my response to Smartmatic was simply simple and to the point, which is basically file your lawsuit. Now, why am I bringing this up? And by the way, people, what I'm going to hopefully do now is, and I have actually put this out in the chat, if anyone wants to go and read this, why am I actually putting this out for people? This is really important, and I'll tell you for why. Because this actually puts the case. Has anyone ever wondered, you know, when you say something about, I don't know, John Roberts being on the flight log of the Epstein Island flights, Lolita Express, etc. Have you ever wondered why he's never sued? Have you ever wondered why certain people have things said about him and they just don't sue? Well, the answer is because 9 out of 10 times, and that's why I say to people, yeah, and I literally say this on my show. I don't say it on this one, but I say it to others. You're a fraud, and if you're not, sue me. And I've never been sued, right? Now, there's an argument for that because what you're saying, what I say to people is, I've got the evidence to prove what I'm saying is right. And not only what I'm saying is right, it's not malicious. It is telling people the truth. And the law of tort in this country, in England, is still common law, right? And it's real law. And one of the things that I put to Robin Tilbrook was that certain people, like there's a lady who's had her business shut down, and I've got to explain the difference between judicial review and the law of tort, right? So the judicial review is where you challenge the government on doing something that you believe is unlawful, but it ain't necessarily got any damages associated with it, right? And there is a 3-month time limit to that, right? Now, what the government are doing in England, or I should say Great Britain and UK Parliament are doing, is they are changing the regulations so quickly that any court cases can't keep up with them, right? Which then puts them out of what they believe out of the bounds of judicial review. Because once they've changed the regulation, you can't then take them to court on that via a judicial review. That's absolutely true. But what you can do is take them to court under the law of tort. Because if you have been damaged at any time in the last 6 years by a government decision that you believe is unlawful, yeah, you can then, if you are the victim, and you must be the victim, right? Because a law of tort demands there must be a victim, yeah? So where this case in front of you now, Smartmatic is saying we will sue Sidney Powell because we, as an organisation or corporation, are the victim of misinformation, slander, libel, etc. Right, which is a defamation case, which they're saying. The worst possible thing that can happen now for them, Smartmatic, is they proceed with this, because in open court, Sidney Powell and Lynn Wood would present the evidence to that court, and damages can be then awarded. And if it's found that it is true, which I believe it would be, it opens the floodgates to other people who were taught fees. In other words, they are victims. And that's what I'm trying to get over to people. Forget about all this fanciful, how you want the law to be. The law of tort is real, and it is a real court. They award damages every day against the police, against government departments, in negligence cases against the National Health Service. All of that is part of the law of tort, and it can be massive damages. So people need to understand there is a difference between judicial review and the law of tort. Now, what we need to do is to get someone who's really, and we have to get behind them people. The problem is we haven't got the mainstream media behind us, which, believe it or not, Simon Dolan did have. That's why he ranged 400,000. But I know people out there that have had their businesses closed down, that are victims of what the government are doing now from day one of this event all the way through to now, which means the tort has been committed and they've got 6 years to make that claim. And it is nothing to do with judicial review. That is the way to push this forward, because then I believe, everyone should have just seen, and I will shut up in a couple of seconds, everyone should have just seen in this country where 2 judges have found that you have got the right to offend people, and if free speech means you haven't got the right to offend people, then it ain't worth having. And these 2 judges made their decision. It's a land. I think it's extremely amusing that it's a landmark case, but it is. I can't believe. And then when you investigate those 2 judges and the 2 judges past, you realise they are judges that come up through the ranks in the old-fashioned way. They're slightly older, and they wasn't part of the judicial appointment system of Tony Blair. So therefore, they, Blairites, and this current judicial system would see them as rogue judges. But they're not rogue judges. They're judges that are actually making decisions on real common law. And that is why that was such a great case, because everyone went, wow, we got 2 judges. Well, there's more of them people, but they're being refused access to the higher levels of the bar because of the judicial appointment system that Tony Blair and his cronies, and I mean the Tories, the Labour Party, the Lib Dems, put in place, including the Supreme Court, which isn't part of our legal structure and is part of the Constitutional Reform Act of 2005, which is a complete fraud on the people and the English Constitution. End. Thank you.
Let me pile on for a second there, Daddy Dragon. A couple points you brought up in conjunction to the article on Epoch Times here. What else does opening a lawsuit up against Sidney Powell do? Obviously they're trying to say, well, she defamed him, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, there are damages to the injured party, et cetera, et cetera. But think of what else we have learned via Q.
Well, if they do, it opens up for discovery. Well, you asked the question, so I'm trying to answer it. It opens up for discovery.
It opens up for discovery and, of course, exculpatory evidence. We go
Yeah.
back to law.cornell.edu/wex/exculpatory. Learned that in Q Post 3542, July 29th, 2019. So yes, go ahead, Smartmatic. Go ahead, Dominion. File your suits. Let's just go on a little fact-finding mission, shall we? Number 2, think of what Sydney is filing here. This isn't just your ordinary, everyday, run-of-the-mill suit. This is a RICO case. Racketeering, folks. That means
Yep.
there's no statute of limitations on time frame, no matter how far back this goes. If they try to go after her, and this opens up to a fact-finding discovery mission, we will find out exactly how far back this fraud goes and how many elections will probably have to be undone since.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
And last point I'll make. In regards to common law and tort and injured parties, what I find humorous out of all this is that common law, you're absolutely right, in that there have to be injured parties. And usually that points back to you and I, a soul, a human being. What I find interesting is that they try and leverage us to dead entities and corporations as if they have souls that can be injured. They can't at the end of the day. And so I'll greatly simplify this a little bit and say, if you've ever gotten a speeding ticket, who is the injured party? Who is ultimately the one that brings the case against you when you get a speeding ticket? You go into the court, say, yeah, how do you plead? Blah, blah, blah. You gonna pay the fine? Nope. What you need to say is, could you bring forth the injured party, please?
Yeah.
Bring the physical person.
Yeah.
Who was injured in my speeding, quote unquote, offense? They can't produce it. And if the who's the attorney on the prosecutor says, oh, I am, then you put them on a stand and say, were you witness? They can't answer that. And if they do, they are obviously not in agreement with the court. There is no injured party, period.
I don't disagree with anything you're just saying. And that goes back to the Bill of Rights, where it says there has to be, you have to have a jury, and then the jury says, well, hang on a minute, who's he hurt when he was driving along a 52 mile an hour in a 50 mile an hour zone? Where is, and they'll turn around and say, there's no injury here, so we find him not guilty. That's why they don't like jury nullification.
Well, there's that, of course. And then, of course, if you want to go really far into it, you need a jury of your peerage. And if you ever get in a position in common law where you can assemble a 25-man grand jury, absolutely nothing is going to stand against it. There's court cases that have been taken all the way to the Supreme Court that says we can't touch this. So you get people who understand what is truly going on and actually get themselves in a position to where they are actually one of the people of your respective states and get on the right side of this. You start assembling bodies of folks 25 deep and bringing charges against these folks. There is absolutely nothing that will stand in the way of them. Period.
I gotta read a couple comments in chat before they scroll by. Number one, Best Nani ever says Corona equals 66, assigned number associated in alphabet. There are 6 letters in Corona, so that equals 66, same number. I won't say those 3 numbers ever together, but the same one. My 9-year-old granddaughter showed me that, shocked me. Yeah, and it also stands for, there's a whole nother thing on Corona. I can do something on that if you want me to. 2, I'm going to ask you about this as well, because English Summer said English flags not being allowed to be seen again. But then somebody else said, I lost it. I was scared of oh, no. And then Reich Fliverer, I cannot say your name. Olaf said Welsh flags banned. And English Summer said no flags from British Isles being allowed to be seen. They banning the English flag and the Welsh flag?
We can't see them. So on chat, now, people are putting up flags and they're coming up as black. They're not allowing the flag to be seen.
What does that mean? They're not allowed. They're taking it down?
Yeah, so yeah, that's not taking it down, but they won't allow the flag to be seen. So if you look, someone just put an Irish flag there. I don't know how they managed that, right?
Oh, they're saying in the emojis.
Yeah, the emojis.
What the?
Yeah, that's been going on for quite a while. So you pick the English flag as an emoji, and you put it up there, the English flag I'm talking about, which is either the dragon or with a white with a black red background, or the red cross with a white background. And if
Yeah,
you put that up there, it won't come up.
It's
I see it.
weird because
Lot L said it's put the U.S. and it's grayed out too.
yeah, well, I'm watching the YouTube chat. Yes, they're all coming up black, but yet I can watch the restream chat, the combined chat behind the scenes. Some are coming up black and some are coming up US, but you're definitely not getting your red and white one. Oh, there you go. The farting boogeyman got one to go through on D Live.
Well, D Live's different, completely different.
Yeah.
But look, they're all putting flags. They're all grayed out. That is a crock of shit. But you can't post your flag now?
Tony G.
Exactly.
Oh, great. Here comes the New World Order.
No, exactly that. And people have just, semi-ignored it. I'm pleased that
I need to show D. Let me show D Live people what we're talking about. Here, D Live. I'm going to show you what we're talking about. You find where I'm going. There we go.
I'm trying to find.
All right. Do you see this right here, D Live? See what everybody's doing over on YouTube? Look, see all the grayed out flags?
Right. But let me just say this to you. If you was to put in what is the equivalent to a gay flag, yeah, it allows you to do it.
Perfectly okay.
That is messed up. Look at that. Okay, sorry. Just showing D Live because they might not word Twitch if they're over there. That is crazy.
Yep.
Yeah, see, D Live's still look. D Live's like, we can see our flag over here. Let's show YouTube. This D Live showing the American flag. Here, I'll join them. There you go. See, that's it. There. Well, there you go. Can't show the freaking flags. That is nuts, man.
Exactly that.
And Mary Kay and D Live said, I bet you can do the China flag. I don't know. That's crazy. Man, what in the hell?
It's not funny. It's stress laughing. I've reached my limit.
Yeah, so people can see basically that's what they've done, and they've stopped it. So like Al, I don't know, you've got the American flag there, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 black flags. So that was probably the American flag, and then it stopped. Yeah, so again, Truth Crusader has just said they allow you to do the EU flag, but they won't allow anything else. Well,
so that being said, folks, if you're on YouTube, make sure you get signed up on D Live or Twitch, just in case.
So again,
I don't even get the options. The only options I get, I'm going to post all of them out here right now.
New people coming in are like, what's with all the black flags?
Yeah, no, that's it. So
that's all good.
What we're saying is that they won't. So people are picking their English flag as an emoji, and it won't allow that. It shows it as a black flag.
No, you can't even pick the flag anymore as an emoji on my end. Look, this is the options that I get. This is it. Look down here at the bottom. There's a race track flag, a red triangle flag. Is that China's flag? Is that what that is?
No, that's Japan.
Well, why the hell would you be able to? Okay, and then there's literally a black flag, a white flag, and then if you post even the rainbow flag, though, it just comes out like a rainbow. Well, nope, that time it made nope. See a white and then a rainbow. It changes it. Do you see that? I click this flag, and I hit post, and it comes out. It changes it. Do you see it? What the hell is going on?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So. They just don't like that. But if you put the gay flag up, you're fine. You're fine.
Ray said Twitch only shows black flags too now. Oh, okay. Well, again, anybody that they could see these people tell us we're wearing tinfoil hats and we're crazy town. Tell them they're not trying to shut her in some kind of new world order, some kind of one world government. Hello, they're not taking down everybody's flag.
Let's see if I can find.
Captain Roy says YouTube permanently banned him for posting WWG1 WGA. Really?
That's been about a year ago, right, Captain Roy? I think so. We got him back though. He's on the D-Live side, so he's all good.
Yeah,
I just checked 5x5 Network and the page is missing.
Say
Well,
what?
listen. Steven said, I just checked 5x5 Network and the page is missing.
Right. Well, let me just have a quick look and see if I can.
It's still here for me.
Yeah, we're good.
Yeah.
Nice, Vernon, and the YouTube channel getting around the algorithms, one letter at a time.
That's crazy though. Listen, again, like I said, I don't care what anybody has to say, as long as they're not like there was some. I give some props to another gamer that called out YouTube because they were allowing this guy who was living over in I think they were from India. They saw these YouTube channels that were making money off rescuing animals. This is not a joke, people. This is serious. But you know how people will rescue animals and they'll take donations, like Hope for Paws is a really good one. They're out of California and they rescue like dogs off the street, take them, get them help, find them. There was a guy over in India that was literally taking puppies and shoving their heads into bicycle spikes, threw a snake in front of one of them to try and act like he was rescuing it to try and get money. It's sick and twisted, and I hate to bring this up, but it's the truth, and that crap is on YouTube. What I mean by I have collected evidence over 3 years span to ban me off Discord all you want, I'll go back and get it. I'm telling you. And they were so outraged. A community of people on YouTube were so outraged. A couple pretty big streamers called it out to YouTube's attention, and that channel is still up, to my knowledge, today. I mean, there was one scene, I won't get it. It was bad though. Okay, it was bad. And
Uito64 says 5x5 your Discord link is not working. Could you fix it, please?
Yeah, Discord.
We've been kicked off Discord now for the better part of a couple months now. So we are and have been behind enemy lines. We've certainly been through the various purges and that prior to the election, et cetera, et cetera. Chances are I don't know. My guess is we probably won't reestablish ourselves on Discord.
No.
We'll probably use alternate platforms for the time being until things get sorted out. And if and
I
or
won't
when.
lie. That was a hard hit for me. A hard hit for me. I had 3 years worth of research. I had 3 separate servers, had all my books on there. I had been putting out all that research people had done to go over the history of slavery into different countries and images. I had all my stuff, like so much of my 3 years of my life when it was on that one platform, that when they banned my account, they banned me from all that. I pleaded with them, even just let me in there to get these few things that I can't find anymore. Nope.
Well,
screw
and
you,
that's
sorry.
part of the reason why it's important to offline everything, even if it's on a scanner and app like these, just in case. And for those that follow the stuff that I do over on Gab, I see one Steven says Gab is a future. Yeah, if you follow me over there, you'll know that I have posted a lot of links here over the last couple of weeks. I'm probably going to release my next round here of just under 5,000 articles since Election Day on all the fraud that has been going on. And I've also folded in all the solar winds revelations that have come out. So presently I'm sitting at about 4,900 and change articles covering all that with all the various links. I'm going to put that over on the old Dropbox side, and you guys will be able to grab those and share amongst yourselves. Get it out on all the social media platforms. Get it out to hell, I'd even go so far as say pass it on to people like Rand Paul and those who are going to go against the electorate come January 6th. Whoever's hands you feel necessary to get it into. I'm only on Gab, not on Twitter or anything else. So if you feel the need to go ahead and do that, go right ahead. Let me, I'll go ahead and put my link stuff out in chat here. You can go to my tree and find all that stuff. Give me one moment here.
Someone was asking, did they really pass the stimulus package? Did they?
They were
seen
brokering a
anything
deal
on
in the
it.
overnight hours.
Okay.
Let's see.
I'm looking.
Vote on 900 billion stimulus package imminent after senators reach deal on Fed powers. That was as of 8 o'clock this morning. The article has not yet been updated on Zero Hedge's side. So I don't know if they're planning on doing a vote today or if that's planned for tomorrow. Whatever the deal is brokered between probably McConnell and Pelosi. At the end of the day, it's a fraud. It's a rape and pillage of the system, an equal screw job by both parties that they have just come to agree on. At the end of the day, if you think that $600 or $1,200 going to the citizens or what have you is going to be enough, please. I talked a little bit about this last night too. Stay tuned, folks. I'm going to have to do a special show on mortgages. I alluded a little bit to this last night, and I don't want to get into the details of it, but obviously we're coming on a precipice here where a lot of these handouts and whatnot that have transpired since the advent of COVID have delayed things, yes, and these special packages have come through that will, keep people in their homes. But that being said, I've got a lot of information that you'll find useful and probably need to get a jump on immediately to get ahead of it so that you do not get kicked out of your respective apartments or homes or what have you if you find yourself in that situation. Carry on.
Live chat, I could use some cheering up. Can anybody post the pie in Gates' face emoji or sticker? I like that sticker. Sorry.
Well, while we're at it, I suppose I can take a quick stroll through what is on the boards here this afternoon while we're waiting.
Okay, because y'all got so quiet.
Uh-oh. Hang on. Oh, man. Jeez.
Oh, someone did it. Oh, farting boogeyman. Thank you. He cute. Fly me. Yeah.
There you go. All right. Well, what are the Anons digging on this afternoon? By the way, the notables pulled just before showtime here today, talking about L. Linwood. Someone needs to do a deep dive on at Mark Meadows. I have heard there are some serious skeletons, and there are witnesses, Mark. I wonder what that alludes to. Mark Meadows being the chief of staff for POTUS at the moment. I wonder what's going on there. I haven't been following, so maybe you guys are enlightened to it. I don't know. Rep. Matt Gaetz announces that he will challenge Electoral College votes. And yeah, he puts on a pretty good show and all these committees and everything else. But I personally have my reservations about somebody like Gaetz just because of some of the hand gestures and things we've seen over the years. Sidney Powell, there was and is no discussion of a hashtag military coup by @real Donald Trump or anyone on his behalf. And of course, if you followed POTUS last night about 10:30, 11 o'clock, he was on a little bit of a tweeting bender where he was talking about that. Mockingbird Media knowingly putting out the fake news in that regard. PF report talking about that. The new White House tweet, new monument to women's suffrage. I have not seen that as of yet. An on-dig on Tamiflu, which is under federal investigation. Interesting. Son of Labor politician Mark Drakeford jailed for rape. That's interesting. Dig on Mark Meadows, so continuing on there. June 30th, 2017, Meadows mingles with Koch brothers, billionaire GOP donors. All right, so the Anons are starting to do a little digging on Meadows there. Says new U.S. Air Force television commercial says to be the calm and the storm in a video. I have not yet seen that. Sounds interesting, but certainly
Breaking.
Yes.
Did you, I think that Mark Meadows thing, maybe you covered this already, but Lynn Wood called out Mark Meadows on Twitter and said that he better start supporting President Trump and not be a snake because, oh, I'm so sorry. I was
Well, yeah, if you've
okay,
got
got
extra
it.
color
Sorry.
on it, yeah, if you've got extra color on it, sure.
No, it was just that Lynn Wood had posted that on Twitter.
Yeah, if
And
there's more to the
yeah,
story
and
that you have.
yeah,
But yeah,
I don't think
everybody,
so. Sorry about that.
no worries. Everybody's digging on him and probably wondering, has he been silent on this? Has he been going against POTUS? I don't know. I'm not on Twitter, so I don't get to see everything. And I've been so focused on election-related stuff and the whole solar winds and all these other things that some of this stuff gets by me. So let's see. Elon Musk responded to this video. Need video cap. Let's see. I'm trying to remember. Elon Musk was in the news yet again here, apparently posting some stuff in the overnight hours again. Where did that? Oh, Elon Musk tweets obscene meme of naked women's ass covered by Bitcoin logo is the headline over on Zero Hedge late morning here. So yeah, more late night shenanigans by Elon Musk here. I think in recent days he also talked about that ridiculous game that Soko was bringing up here a little bit ago as well. At Patrick Byrne, President Trump is being terribly served by his advisors. They want him to lose and are lying to him. Maybe that's what they're alluding to by way of Mark Meadows. I don't know. He may be bought for all we know. Who knows? Elon Musk, 50 years later, with video cap. So still digging on Elon. Dig on QPost 2912. Time for a D-class tactical nuke. Possibly. Tommy Robinson, Swalwell's CCP shag piece, fixtured with Feinstein CCP spy. Yes, I've seen photo evidence of that via some articles here today as well. Trump campaign lawyer Jesse Benall says YouTube removed his Senate hearing opening statement. And of course, I think that, if I'm not mistaken, that goes back to what has been going on in Nevada. Or Arizona, I can't remember which. Stuff all starts to blur together. Looks like tonight is Christmas then, according to Nigel Farage. Not sure what he's referring to there, the context, but an dig on Prem Reddy, Indian billionaire, just busted by DOJ and also shows up in WikiLeaks' dump of Clinton emails. Interesting. At Patrick Byrne again, says I was there for the full 4.5-hour meeting. Claims military coup / martial law were discussed is 100% fabrication. So again, if you're getting your news from the Mockingbird media and are pushing this crap out there, it is yet again fake news. QPost 2s, QPost 1876, deep state intercepts / steal comms via backdoors. Well, perhaps this solar winds was the avenue for which that was to take place. I'm still digging on it, folks. Lots of information still coming out since last Sunday when that was exposed and the CISA edict came out. And last but not least, the doctor explains clearly why she won't take the vaccine for the China virus. And so there are a number of articles out there, 100,000 doctors, et cetera, et cetera. Never mind the fact that you got this nurse or practitioner or whatever down in Tennessee the other night who took it and then proceeded to go on camera and promptly passed out. But hey, what do we know?
It was
Pardon?
in Chattanooga. And
There you
half
go.
the nurses at the Huntsville Hospital in Alabama refused to take it.
Yep. And we're seeing that around the country, that better than 40% of folks in a lot of these hospitals are thwarting it and saying, nah, I don't think so. And for good reason. I mean, the numbers are baked. It's no different than following climate change, the selective cherry picking of numbers to satisfy the narrative in that they wish to push. If you go back and look at the actual numbers behind the data, it doesn't matter if it's the Pfizer or the Moderna or the BioNTech that's in conjunction with the Pfizer, I should say. Excuse my slip up there, like POTUS. But they bake the numbers to get this 95% efficacy BS. They have no idea. They have no long-term studies that prove it. They have no independent studies, just like everything else. And don't forget the fact that these big pharma folks have total immunity should you suffer any adverse reactions, up to and including death. So if by chance you take this sucker and you keel over, well, it is what it is. Sorry. Unless, of course, you take them to the secret vaccine courts behind the scenes. But hey, carry on.
Wow. Okay, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things, and then Daddy, he probably has a couple things he wants to. I'm just going to share this because I think it just shows the hypocrisy of, how many states it says you have to quarantine for 14 days. You can't go anywhere, even if you've been exposed to COVID. But Ellen, who's, been spotlighted in the media a lot lately of how horrible she ran her show and what a bitch she was. Apparently she can get COVID and 10 days later she can go out and go grocery shopping, and then she can take her face mask down, to tease for the camera and then go have a FaceTime conversation with someone. This is 10 days after she apparently tested for COVID. Just so you know. So, what's good for thee, not
and
good
Dr.
for me.
Dr. Burks with her family over Thanksgiving. She got to go with her 3 generations of her family members and do her thing.
Oh, but we're supposed to feel sorry for Mr. Fauci and that his daughters won't be able to join him because, hashtag cancel Christmas. And then less than 24 hours.
How about King
I didn't
Waltz
say that.
of Minnesota?
Of where?
How about King Waltz? He thinks we should be grateful that he opened outdoor dining in the middle of winter.
Who was that posted the meme? I saw a great meme about that. Maybe it was on Gab or maybe
There's the one about the pool.
There was one where
maybe
a guy
we'll
was
be lucky if he opens a pool.
No, there was another one where a guy was sitting in about 8 feet of snow up in Minnesota at a table outside a restaurant.
I think that was New York, where there were 2 guys in New York that were eating out.
Yeah, it could be there. It could be Minnesota. Wherever you get a prominent amount of snow.
Well, I think they got dumped on with that big snow because we don't have any snow right now.
Yep. But you should be thankful that you get to eat outside in 4 feet of snow.
Yeah, in freezing cold weather.
Count your blessings.
And we should keep behaving because if we're good, then maybe good things will happen.
In the meantime, New Jersey and surrounding states are wooing folks from New York over to their restaurants because, hey, you get to actually eat inside.
Okay, the next one is this Olympic boxer, 52, was accused of strangling his daughter, 25, to death in Staten Island Park. Is extradited from Egypt to face trial in New York. So there you go. This guy right here apparently strangled his daughter to death and then drug her off in the woods 30 feet and then covered her body with leaves. Apparently he had also killed one of his opponents, Randy Carver, in the ring in Kansas City in September of '99 after repeatedly headbutting him. So, it says his daughter, who lived in Rosebank, had been an advocate for Muslim women suffering from domestic violence through her volunteer work in New York City-based Asaya Women's Center. So I wonder why Muslim women may be suffering from domestic violence. I don't know, because it's written in their religion that they can be abused and beat and whatever. And if their husband's having a bad day, it's perfectly acceptable for them to beat the shit out of their wives. If you don't believe me, look it up.
Yeah,
so
I see wee bits out there that they're from Minnesota as well. Correct pronunciation, Minnesota.
Well, said he was going back to Staten Island to face the charges, so apparently he did that in New York. The parents of Manhattan's $54,000 a year Dalton school pull their kids after it imposes anti-racism manifesto that focuses on challenges to white supremacy, weeks after Megyn Kelly removed her children from another woke New York City prep school. So this one, by the way, they're not having in classes. They're still not having classes in the facility, but they're still charging $54,000 a year. And this is exactly what I mean. Tic Tac, I believe, said it out there in chat earlier. They're not after us, they're after our kids. This is white guilt. They're teaching these white kids that they should feel guilty because they were born white. Or they're telling everybody else you can't help what color you're born as. That doesn't define who you are. You blah, 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 blah. Equality, equality, equality. But unless you're white. If you're white, You should feel horrible about who you are and how you were born and what color your skin is and all this other bullshit. So again, if
A
you want me
little
to point out
detour
the
on
amount of
that.
racism on YouTube, I will gladly point it out for you. It's on every day. Go ahead.
A little detour on that. Did you also see how Whitmer of Michigan was going after the children with Santa Claus and
Disgusting.
oh my gosh. And then Fauci too, about how he gave Santa Claus the vaccine and so he's all vaccinated and good to go for Christmas.
You'll
Oh
have
my
to elaborate on the first one a little bit. Maybe people don't know what the story you're talking about.
Well,
The
real
first
quick,
one.
there was an ad in the UK about that too. How they brought him back from the COVID. Talk about
Hang on, let her
BS.
talk about that first story because not many people might not know about that.
Oh,
What she
it was
doing, Santa.
Whitmer did a commercial. I think it was a
Mhm.
commercial from Michigan or something
Yep.
on Santa Claus, and all these kids were on Zoom and asking, "Does anyone have a question?" And the little kid goes, "Yeah, Santa, do you have to wear a mask?" And then Santa goes, "Yes, I wear a mask in my shop when I'm around the elves." And then they started talking. I shut it off. I think they started talking about the vaccine and how Santa is obeying all the rules and being good, and I couldn't take it after that. So breaking, if you saw the rest of it.
Yeah, I saw the articles. It was absolutely sickening, the stuff, the type of programming they're putting in front of kids at this point. I can't believe parents even allow their kids to watch this stuff from these people, if you want to call them that at this day and age. But real quick, I want to address
I'm
something.
gonna hang on. Let me finish this article. Here's the things that were proposed at this school. There's a list of proposed changes. Includes the hiring of 12 full-time diversity officers and an additional full-time employee whose entire role is to support Black students who come forward with complaints. 12 full-time diversity officers and additional full-time employee. Hiring of multiple psychologists with specializations of the psychological issues affecting ethnic minority populations. Paying off the student debt of incoming Black faculty. Reroute 50% of all donations to New York City public schools. Eliminate AP courses if a Black student doesn't score as high as a white one. Overhaul entire curriculum and add required courses that explicitly center Black liberation and challenges to white supremacy. Reduce tuition for Black students whose photographs appear in school promotional materials. Require public anti-racism statements from all employees annually. Mandatory community and diversity days to be held throughout the year. Require anti-bias training to be conducted every year for all staff and parent volunteers. Mandatory minority representation in otherwise elected student leadership roles. Mandatory diversity plot lines in school plays. And this isn't racist. All this is not racist. You can't say it's racist towards white people, right? Liberation and challenges to white supremacy. Teaching this to little kids to feel bad because they're white, and then giving special privileges to Black students. Are they trying to take us back to the days of segregation? Because that's exactly what it seems like. And if you want to talk about reverse racism, read that list. So there you go. Go ahead, Breaking. What are you gonna say?
Real quick, kind of a separate discussion going on in chat. I see some folks having about quinine and addressing HCQ and all that. If you go back on the channel here, or even over to my archive channel, you can go all the way back to probably about February or March, maybe even late January. Great Game India had a great piece on kind of the history of quinine and how it was used back in the days when the British occupied India and how it came to be in fighting malaria. And its various uses. So if you get the opportunity, either check it out here on the channel or go look for the article out of Great Game India. And it's got a pretty good write-up on quinine, HCQ, its uses, and so forth, as we learned about it here now some 9 months ago. That's all.
Okay. Then I got one more, and then anybody else can talk. Dog walker caught Hillsong Church pastor Carl Lentz having sex with a young celebrity in 2014 in the latest sordid cheating allegation to rock the pastor. So this is this big guy. He owns that mega church, Hillsong. I'm sure you've heard about it. Justin Bieber That's whenever he took that break from his tour, he started seeing this pastor that belongs to this church. This is the man himself. There's Bieber just mentioning him. So this guy right here, again, apparently, I'm assuming she knew nothing about it, but just another person that's part of one of these mega churches doing some dirty deeds, apparently, with the young celebrity. You know.
Oh, and
Not-
just to
not the
tag on to
least
that,
worries.
wasn't it Olstein who just got exposed for all the money, the PPE money he got, millions
Yeah.
for his church?
Yep.
Yeah, the guy that had to be bullied into opening his doors when the hurricane hit Texas. Yeah, that outstanding Christian man.
That's
You know
the
what I mean?
one.
That's what I'm talking about. I would rather find go to a person's house with about 3 or 4 families that read from the Bible while ever going to a church like that in my life, that sit there and would live in $10 million mansions and drive around in Range Rovers and have private planes saying, "Praise Jesus, put some money in the till." I can't stand it. I live in the South. I live in the Bible Belt. If I hear anybody that starts speaking like the man of the Jesus says, I'm out the freaking door. I can't handle that shit. You don't have to talk like this to be close to the Lord. I can't stand it.
I love it. I love it. I love it.
I can't stand it, man. I know some great pastors and some really good people, and they talk like me and you. They don't do this, and it's like, what are you doing? They start shaking, and they go touch somebody in the head, and they fall down, start spasming out. You're like, what the hell?
Talking
Wait
in
till you get to the really country churches that try to break out a snake or two, and you're like, where are you from, people? Give me the rake, beat the head of the snake over the head. But yeah, I'm telling you. So around here, it's the smaller churches. There's really good ones that usually are in the backwoods, and they read from the Bible, and they're really good people. And I don't do that whole mega church shit. I can't handle that crap. Get me another. Jesus said I needed that 757 because I deserve to fly in first class so I can preach the word better and get there faster. What the hell? That's what Jesus would do. Jesus would buy another airliner for your fleet, you know. Forget the starving children in Africa. You can get to your Bahama Island really quick. I'm telling you guys, I've also had a conversation with Breaking about that. Nothing irritates me more than people that do that junk. Dude, I can't stand it, man. Don't get up here and talk about how, you know, you're out to help people, and then you have to be shamed into opening your doors to help those people in Texas that suffered from that hurricane. Give me a break.
Yeah. And whatever happens, they've all got to travel first class.
Yeah, it's pretty sick.
Can I interject with a couple of things?
Yeah, please. Go ahead.
Would you mind terribly?
I don't mind at all.
Just had your southern rant.
I might mind.
I can't. I'm telling you, man, I cannot stand it. I can't stand it. And I'm not saying there's a lot of them, but I'm just talking about the mega ones that are, everybody knows what I'm talking about.
Yeah, no, I do. And that's one of the reasons why I don't like organised religion.
Demanding that these old people on disability and stuff give them, people give what they can give.
Right.
They don't need to put fuel in your damn jetliner.
Everyone can see this up on their screens. There he is, the main man on the right-hand side, not the one on the left. Trump campaign files Supreme Court challenge to overturn election results in Pennsylvania. December the 20th, 2020, updated about 5 minutes ago. So this is technically breaking news. President Trump's campaign team on Sunday filed an appeal to the US Supreme Court to reverse cases by Pennsylvania Supreme Court that changed mail-in ballot laws. The campaign's case, which there's a PDF there, is attempting to reverse 3 cases decided by the state Supreme Court that illegally changed the mail-in ballot laws immediately before and after the 2020 presidential election. The lawyers contended that the Supreme Court's decisions are a violation of Article 2 of the Constitution and 2000 Bush v. Gore ruling. And again, if you want to go all the way through that, you can. It's quite a long article. But just to let you know, they're not giving up, people, and they're gonna keep persevering with this because they should do. Now, hopefully, I'm now gonna switch over to something else that they're all talking about in chat from the UK. And that is PM to chair Cobra meeting amid UK-France border chaos, right? Now, again, some people said to me last week and the week before, and I was on a rant and never finished the rant, and they said, you said there's a reason why all this is going on. What is the reason? And I'm telling you what the reason is. This is a punishment to the people of this country and others in the world of taking back control. So when we voted for Brexit, this is a punishment on us, and this is by the deep state, yeah. And these people and layers of people that are there as the what is the word I'm looking for? Shadow government. And the same thing, I believe, is in place in America, because the shadow government are punishing the people of the United States of America for voting in President Trump, basically. There is no real difference to what's going on. We're looking at control mechanisms, and that's exactly what they're doing. Now, they had years to plan for this. There's no need for chaos at any border. And what they've done is they've created this, and they're going to create a bigger problem. And the reason without even reading this, the reason why there is a Cobra meeting is because of the supply chain for food, right? They're doing all these things in the background, and it's, to be fair, it's disgusting. Boris Johnson will hold an emergency Cobra meeting on Monday morning. Oh, right. Well, it's not an emergency one today then, is it? As the list of countries banning UK travel due to the new COVID strain continues to grow. Let me tell you something. Here we go, people. I'm now going to stop my thing and say, all natural, and it's called immune support, right? Dr. Zev, lovely fella, acidic Jew, got cancer, still trying to help us. He's American, lovely fella. Go and follow him, and he'll give you all the advice you need, right? Completely.
Listen, when all this started, my dad is 76-year-old. I put him on vitamin C, vitamin D. I bumped that up to vitamin D3 and zinc.
Exactly.
That's what he's on. He's been on it since when I first started doing some research into it. I put him on that. I just told him yesterday if he took that vaccine, I was going to whoop his ass. I mean, because it gives you some version of it there, and they'll tell you, admit to it on air, but they can't tell you you won't get it if you get the vaccine, that you won't get COVID, that you won't pass COVID along, and it will still, they still won't allow you to remove your face mask or stop social distancing after you get it, because they don't know exactly what it will protect you from, if anything.
And don't forget one of those ingredients, just to so everyone can see this on the screen. There it is. Nature's Best. This is completely natural. Quercetin, 500 milligrams. So if you can't get hold of hydroxychloroquine, that is the second best thing that you can take. And that is one of the things. So again, this is completely natural, right? So this doesn't do any harm to anyone. It is immune support, yeah. Vitamin D3, 500 maximum strength. Zinc.
Betty, I feel like I'm watching Alex Jones right now. Him selling his vitamins.
It's in the Infowars store right now.
I mean, you've told us about 6 times. Like,
yeah, but the only
I feel like, what is it? It's a sponsored commercial?
No, I'm not making any money out of this, right? Okay. There it is, right? And all I'm saying to you is, and the reason why I keep showing it, yeah, you don't have to panic. All you need to do is support your own immune system. That's it. I don't make any money out of them products. I'm not interested in it at all, nor does Dr. Zev. And there's lots of evidence to support it. And the people, and the reason why I keep showing these is because the mainstream media will not show this narrative as an alternative to what they're currently doing to the whole of the population of the United States of America and destroying the economies of our countries, when it can be as simple as that. And someone just mentioned India, just a quick one, right? India have now, to the entire population, put out free substances in some pill form. It comes to $2 per person, right? They've sent it out to people and say, that's all you got to take for COVID. Any strain of COVID, that's all you need. And in that is something called isertine, which is one of the things that we spoke about before, and I've spoken about it before again. There are two, believe it or not, I don't know how they work. Well, actually, I do, because I've read the documentation. One of them is a strong wormer, and and they use it for scabies. It's already been approved for human use, right? And India is saying you need this. It's even better than hydroxychloroquine, right? And it stops the virus spreading and destroys it, and then allows the body. So with all these other bits, allows the body to destroy it. Bang, done, all over, back to work. That's it.
By the way, Dee Dee, you might add one more thing to your regimen there.
Go on, what's that?
I would recommend that you pick up black cumin seed oil in pill form.
Yeah.
Why do I say that? Well, obviously, if you know anything about it, it's known as from the annual flowering plant Nigella sativa. It cures everything but death, basically. Many of black cumin's traditionally ascribed health benefits have been thoroughly confirmed in the biomedical literature. In fact, since 1964, there have been 458 published peer-reviewed studies referencing it.
Yep.
Our project had identified 1,600 natural compounds with a wide range of health benefits, and we are only in our first 5 years of casual indexing. This article is probably from 2016-17, so lots more since then. But bottom line, you keep that in your health regimen as well, you'll pretty much cure everything but dying.
Well, mine is organic oil of oregano. It has to be from the Mediterranean, though. You can look it up, see what it does. That's what I have. Only if you got it. Okay. I got it for my dad to have on reserve.
And just to let all the men out there know this, and the ladies, of course, because there needs to be assistance from the ladies. The absolute best preventative measures for prostate cancer are regular emptying of the prostate. Just to let you all know.
Why the hell are you saying women need to know that?
Well, because you have to assist.
What kind of women are you hanging around?
And what I'm saying is, you have to assist.
You been playing Cyberpunk 2077 or something?
No,
those women in that game have penises, but not women I know.
Okay, so married women have to assist their partner to that element, right? That's all.
No, they don't. That's like saying we need to tell all the men how to do or look for breast cancer. What are you talking about? Of course, a man would probably be like, yeah, Danny, I'm down to rub your boobs. But like, no, women are not trying to play with saggy balls around. No, you can do your own prostate shit.
That's not very nice, is it?
Am I wrong, Sonny?
Sonny's
look at her. She ain't gonna say that. We've embarrassed Sonny off the channel. She's like, what are y'all talking about?
Sonny's run off and thought, I ain't getting involved with that one. Right, people, I have got to go anyway. So see you later.
Take care, Dee Dee.
We got 4 minutes. We got 4 minutes until the top of the hour, so we'll call it in anyway. Anybody? No, it's 1 minute. Sorry. Anybody got anything else they want to? You can't leave here without saying bye. So I don't even want to hear that crap. I can't do that junk. So anybody else have anything else they want to add?
Well, you want me to say bye?
Well, I'm waiting to see if anybody else has anything they want to add, because we can go. We really gotta keep going if anybody does. But Sonny, are you there? Did you really fall off?
Yeah, I'm here. I don't know if you heard me laughing. I had to mute. I was laughing my butt off.
Oh yeah. Well, you just don't have those conversations when you've known somebody as long as I've known these fellas. Daddy telling us we won't play with their prostates is like, what the hell? It's a nightmare in my world. We're like, no, you got that, buddy. What's all right, listen. Anybody got anything else you want to add before Daddy sends us off?
Yeah, perhaps Breaking should pray for all of us. Sorry,
Lord help us.
breaking, but it seems
Forgive all the starving
appropriate.
pygmies in New Guinea. Yeah. Well,
You want to say a little prayer breaking before we leave, or
oh, I suppose I could, given
well,
the
don't let
season.
us twist your arm.
Twist my arm.
I guess so. If you'll donate to the teal and get me a private jet.
Yeah. I'm not a Kenneth Copeland, as I saw floating through chat.
All right, let's get it out there so Daddy can say bye and then send us off.
All right. Well, let's go to the Lord in prayer here to close us out. Father, we just thank you for this season that we're in, as troubling as it is, as oppressive as it is, as exhaustive as it is for those of us who stand in the light and on your word, Lord. We just thank you for who you are, a God of mercy, a God of grace, renewed every day. We thank you that you are the God of love at the end of the day, and that we should show love to our fellow compatriots and even those who stand against us, Lord, as tough as it may be. Have compassion on them, to bless those who curse us, as troubling as it is and as hard as it is in our fleshly sense to do that, Lord. And I just thank you for the season that we find ourselves in, where everything that had been hidden under rocks is now being exposed, and the light is being brought upon all of it, and that we get to help expose and teach and bring forth the information to others to share as well, in light of the censorship and everything else, Lord, and that all things work together for your good. Father, we just thank you for the gift of your Son, especially in this season. Know that your Son was brought into this world to do the things that he did in order to die for our sins, past, present, forevermore. And Lord, we just thank you, we bless you, we praise you, and thank you for all these things through Christ our Lord and only Savior, Yeshua HaMashiach. Amen and amen.
Amen.
Amen. Okay, Daddy.
Bye.
Waiting on